Hello, welcome to Special Collections at Monash University Library. So we're up here today in our controlled storage area. My name is Anne Holloway and I am the current manager / curator of Special Collections, and I will be giving you a video walk through some of our holdings. In comparison to the other institutions in Melbourne, the special collections at Monash University Library are quite young. We only began collecting in the 1960s with the purchase of a small selection of 17th century books, mainly surrounding Jonathan Swift and his contemporaries. The collection then grew to focus on literature, philosophy, religion, history of science, and had strength including English and French literature, exploration, and things like the Popish Pop in our pamphlet collection, as well as the long-form history of sexuality and gender from the 18th century onwards, and of course a history focusing on Australia as well. You've just seen the first edition copies of Gulliver's Travels from the Swift collection, and I'm beginning to show you one of our prized possessions is a first edition of Darwin's Origin of Species, which is what I am about to show you here. We also have a second edition of The Descent of Man, which is signed by Sir John Monash and came from his personal library. Sir John Monash is the individual of whom after Monash University is named, which is lovely to have that. Other examples are the Flora Australiensis, which I am showing you here. We have the complete set and a finding aid with them as well. You can find these digitized on our repository, which the link is provided within the chat. I would be remiss if I did not give you a glimpse of some of the beautiful pages of John Galt's Birds of Australia. We have the full, complete 7 volumes within the collection as one of our prized possessions. Moving on rather hastily, I'm sorry. I'm going to want to talk about the Asian Special Collections. You're looking here at bark books from 19th century Indonesia. They are in Javanese, and each one is a Buddhist sutra. We have about 7 of these particular books. They're very fragile. Monash University Library has a lovely range of Asian collections, including the Mel Rickliffe collection, which contains about 5,000 books plus microfilm of materials relating to Indonesia during the VOC period, or the Dutch East Indies. They are a superb collection, and some of them are held within the control zone as well, such as these particular items. There are also the Indonesian Historical Pamphlet Collection, which are primarily materials from 1960s. The Sihanouk Archival Collection, which is the personal, digital and written archive of the King Sihanouk of Cambodia, as well as the Balai Pustaka. So they're quite comprehensive. I'm going to start by letting you look at this particular Manuscriptus Super Biblium, which is the Mammitractus Bible by Johannes Marquesinus from 1476. It is our earliest incunabula. We have another one from 1486, which is a Dominican confessions manual of French origin. It's a very beautiful manuscript. I just don't have time to show you here. And now turning perhaps to the more manuscript end of things, we have a wide range of manuscripts in special collections. Our earliest piece you were looking at here from the late 12th century, which is commentary on the sentences by Peter Lombard. The incipit is Me Poiesum Christum. This comes from the Bernard Bischoff collection, which is a collection of paleographical fragments that he collected to teach handwriting when he was professor of paleography. And we have about 30 of them, plus a number of early print materials. The latest one goes up to roughly the mid-16th century. We also have a number of other fragments, such as the one you're looking at, which really is actually an archival document. This is a papal charter from the 1230s. It is a donation of land or confirmation of land to a monastery within France. It's beautiful. You can see it has had a bulla attached with the cutting at the bottom. Other materials are things such as this particular
ledger, which comes from America. It comes from Washington, D.C. area, and it contains the life of one enslaved Peter, who his last slave master wrote his life out in it, and it also sort of contains a history of the town. We're still currently researching this one. Other materials we collect in are LGBTI plus materials. This includes magazines, pamphlets, local and American and international, including pulps. But in this case here, what we have is a diary of a teenage boy in America in the 1940s who was out and queer, and he puts in code his discussions around his homosexual adventures. But what you're actually looking at right now is one of our medical collection, and this is one of some 45 prescription books across Melbourne and regional Victoria that we have in the collection, which leads me, hopefully in a slightly clunky segue, going from prescriptions and recipes to our cooking and food history collection, which is enormous. I have not much time to go through it, but I thought we could sit here and look at this rather beautiful late 19th century display of German cakes. These would have been hung up in a shop so that you could see they actually extend in a concertina. To talk about the cooking collection, it starts, the earliest manuscripts we have are from the 18th century, the mid-18th century, and it goes all the way through to, well, last week, and contains things on social history, cooking, bringing up children, and is beautiful. At the heart of our collection is popular history materials, and this includes comics. As you can see here, this particular Macaron Collage is a very early sort of proto-comic. The main part of our comic collection is the golden era of collection comics within Australia, particularly the 50s and the 60s, as well as a number of more recent comics that we have. We also have large pulp materials such as westerns, which I'm letting you appreciate here, with the accompanying hand-painted artist covers that we have for a lot of our collection. So we have western pulps, romances, detective fiction, as well as detective modernists. We also have an astonishing, or an amazing, one could possibly say, science fiction collection. This includes science fiction novels, science fiction serials like the amazing stories you see here, as well as our fanzine collection, which is different from that at the State Library, on the grounds that it is donated by the Melbourne Science Fiction Club, Meteor Inc., which is a conglomeration of science fiction writers and collectors and fanzine writers in Victoria. And they form the basis of essentially a Melbourne and Victorian understanding of fanzines. As we have moved on to Rackham and to Delac, we also have the Lindsay Saw Children's Collection, which, unlike, is not Australian focused. It has international materials in it as well, and our heart and our strength really is this kind of either ephemeral early 19th century children's picture and illustrated books and fairy tales. So we have an incredibly strong and varied fairy tale collection. And I'm just throwing in here rather quickly at the end for your edification another beautiful book, as we do have some artist books, not as many as both Melbourne and the State Library, but that was one. Last but certainly not least is the Ada Booth Rare Books collection. The Ada Booth collection is a bequest to the University Library. It is in the Special Collections area, a rare books and Slavic collection, specifically the 20th century. We focus on collecting beautiful things known as, like this one known as the Purple Fuzzy Book, but also women's history, cultural history, art history, and reflecting the wider special collections LGBTQI. We have serials like the one you're looking at here, as well as ephemera to do with everyday lived society. These are cards from the Gulag of the 1980s, hand-drawn, that came out of Western Russia. We also have, obviously, music and some earlier Ukrainian pieces, focusing on the Ukraine, as Ada Booth was from the Ukraine. We also have our book arts, and here you see our copy of Pro Eto by Mayakovsky, or About That. It is absolutely gorgeous, and you'll see a few of the pages turning over in here, so you can see some of the poetry as well. We also have a number of Lisitsky's and other Mayakovsky books and covers from various serials. I'm going to end here now talking over a number of the artist books that we have in the Ada Booth collection, because I think it's nice to end on a vodka bottle. Please ask any questions that you have about the collection. I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Thank you very much.